Guys, welcome back. Miles from Cato Communications. Thanks for joining us. Third session of the 10-minute training for Facebook ads. We are talking today about the Facebook pixel. In the previous webinars, we talked about audiences and campaign creation / ads manager. So now that we've covered those two principles, we are ready to talk about tracking. Now, there is really no point in spending money on Facebook if we don't have any understanding of what it's bringing back in terms of, return on advertising spend and return on investment. So this is where the Facebook pixel becomes a really important feature for when we do Facebook advertising. For those who are unfamiliar with the Facebook pixel is basically a piece of script. It's a bit of code which sits in the back of the website between the header tags, and it sits on all the pages, and it picks up data based on users' browsing behaviors and purchase or event behaviors. So, what I would always suggest when you're starting with Facebook advertising is that you get the pixel installed straight away, because it's going to give you access to more data. Sometimes creating a strategy, building a campaign can take between 2 to 3, 4 weeks. Sometimes, if you're building a long funnel with a 6-month campaign, then the strategy and the actual legwork to get that set up can be weeks. So all I can suggest is get your advert account set up and live, get that pixel set up. It's all free to do. And get it in the back of the website, send it over to the developer. If you haven't got a developer that works on your site, then Facebook has some really simple instructions for how to get it set up. Let's say, for example, you don't have a developer, and we're going to run you through exactly how to do this. Hit the burger bar and head to Pixels. You will not see this page. You will actually see a call to action button which says set up pixel, and it's going to flash around with a few things, and it's going to give you a piece of code which sits between the header tags. So if we just go through it here, because this is exactly how it's displayed when you open it, there are various ways you can do it. You can use it via an integration or tag manager. A lot of clients use GTM or Google Tag Manager, so it's very simple to do through GTM. But if you don't, you can manually install the code yourself. There's a very simple video for how to do this, but it's basically a case of locating the header tags on the website and pasting the code below those header tags. The code is provided here. I'm not going to go into too much detail into into how the code is populated, but it does have your pixel ID in there at some stage. I think I can see the pixel ID here. Yeah, so that's my Facebook pixel ID, which is unique to my ad account, so that it knows that the data needs to come back to the advert account of Miles Warden-Owen. Once that is installed and you've pasted that between the header tags and all your pages, you'll be able to test it, and you will actually be able to see whether it's firing properly. You really want to see that green light, and you want to see that active status. If it doesn't see that and you see a red light, then something's gone wrong. It hasn't been copy and pasted correctly. Then you need to go back and address that, because it's really important you get that set up. Again, Facebook provides a nice little tool for if you want to email it to your developer, you can just send it out, blah, 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 and it will basically send all the instructions to your developer, who will probably be able to do it a lot quicker and a lot more effectively than you can if you're not familiar with installing code. Excuse me. So once we've checked the pixel status and we're happy that the Facebook pixel is firing, then you can start to add your events. Now, basically, an event is any action on your site that can be tracked. Facebook explains it very clearly there. So whenever someone visits a page, whenever someone makes a purchase, whenever someone adds a product to their cart, whenever someone signs up to a newsletter, all these events can be tracked, and they must be tracked, because when you start to run activity for these campaigns, we really want to understand the cost and how effective and how profitable these campaigns are. So if you're a full e-commerce business, then you'll probably be able to install events for all of these different types. The purchase event is obviously the most important. It's essential that you get that set up if you're selling products or services online. You're obviously going to have events for generating leads, completing registrations, adding stuff to your cart. When we select these, then you will actually see the code here. You can enter the conversion value for each of these codes, and also the currency. We obviously trade in GDP, Great British pounds. So that would be our currency. We will receive data in the form of US dollars. You can have parameters and things like that, but we're not going to get too involved with that because that's probably another stage of advanced pixel tracking. But that is basically how to set it up. You're going to see the activity here, which is good, so you can test it. And once these are all set up, you're pretty much in a position to run your ads from start to finish so that you understand exactly the return you're getting from this. So, sorry, I got an email. I got distracted there. Let's have a look at what we can do once we've installed all these event codes and things like that. There is quite a lot, so I do understand it's quite overwhelming. But let's head back to Ads Manager. And what we're going to do here is just give you a bit of insight into the columns, because the columns display different types of data. You've got the performance column is by default, and this basically looks at your reach, the results, the cost per result, the amount spent, and the lifetime. Basically, the schedule of your campaign. So it's quite top line. It's not too important, but things like engagement, things like performance and clicks are very useful. Click data is really, really good for understanding how to scale your campaigns. So this is quite nice to look at. The click-through rate on these obviously differs quite significantly. So this awareness campaign didn't actually perform so well. The click-through rate was 0.42%, which is actually quite low in the grand scheme of things. Any click rates below 0.5% probably need work on. They probably need a new headline. They probably need new creative. All these things can be tested, guys. So really important when you're setting up your ads that you're running A/B split tests. An A/B split test is basically, if I had to explain it on the basis of Facebook, advert 1 has one image, advert 2 has a different image, and you test those two, and then you go to things like the performance and the clicks or the engagement, and you look at the data from each of those adverts, and you can see. So here we didn't get a great click rate, here we did get a click rate, and you can also see it from the cost side of things. Here we're paying 84 pence for clicks, here we're paying 22 pence. So it's really useful to understand that data when you come to optimize your campaigns. And there are other things that we can look out for if we hit the customize columns button. Now, something that I like to pay close attention to, especially because we are looking to generate sales and revenue off our ads, is the website purchase return on ad spend. So this is actually taking the website purchase conversion value and looking at the amount we actually spent, and then looking at how much of an increase we made. So if we spent £1 on Facebook advertising and we acquired a customer who spent 10, then our purchase return on ad spend is going to be 10 to 1. As a rule of thumb, we try and run ads, or we have always run ads, actually. I'm trying to think. We have always run ads where the ROAS, or the ROI, is at least 5 to 1. We have run some great campaigns recently which produced a 35 to 1 return on ad spend. So we spent, £10, we made back 350, which is great. We nailed our targeting, we nailed our copy and creative, and it worked, and we had a fantastic offer in place. So looking at that website purchase ROAS is really important. We can have a look at the purchase data as well, so we can see how many website purchases came. Just go through and select all these, because they'll be displayed in these columns. This is really important, the purchase conversion value. This is something I like to look at, because if we've got an ad set that's acquiring customers for £5 and we've got an ad set that's acquiring customers for £10, however, the conversion values are so different, it might be worth paying a little bit more for that customer that's spending more money. So it's not just looking at acquisition costs, but it's actually looking at the conversion value of those purchases. As you get through here, we can look at app purchases, but obviously we're not in the app market. Offline purchases, we don't record offline events, so we don't need to do that. So that is just one way of how we can look at all the data. It's all going to be displayed under here. I actually set up a pixel, so you can save these, and you can have a look at, obviously, website conversions, website add to basket, website purchases, content views, things like that. So all your data is displayed along here, and obviously you can pull your reports. But that is how to get going, guys. So I hope this works, and I'll see you soon.